Hey, it's Squidly. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a blast of Arctic air coming into the eastern half of North America in the next week, and I'm planning to go out and be in the woods during this, so stick around and I'm going to show you what my layers are going to look like for this Arctic blast. Okay, just for some perspective, here are the temperatures that it looks like it's going to be around for next weekend. Of course, these things change all the time, so I don't know this is what it's going to be, but right now this is what the forecast looks like. With this blast of Arctic air, I'm going to be in North Alabama. I'm going to be in the Sipsey Wilderness, and right now it looks like the lows are going to be in the low 20s, and the highs are going to be in the 40s, maybe kind of on the shoulders of 40 degrees. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I'm going to be wearing, and I'm going to break this down into my daytime hiking clothes and then the additional layers that I'll have in camp in order to stay warm in camp. And hopefully all of this also involves a campfire because it's really going to be cold. For my base layer on top, this is the shirt that I've recently been wearing from Fieldbach, and I'm going to put a link in the description for I think it's a 15% discount if you order from Fieldbach using the discount code that I have available for you. I get a little bit of something out of it, but it's not going to cost you anything extra. In fact, again, it's a discount. But the Fieldbach layers that I got have proven to be just fantastic clothes. I really like these, and this has become one of my favorite shirts, not just for on trail, but also just wearing around. In addition, on the bottoms, and I'm going to hold these up for you because I am not going to be able to model these for you with the way I'm set up here with my closet. So I have a pair of leggings that I wear, and again, this will be daytime. With the daytime highs being around 40, this will be enough to keep me warm. I've done this plenty of times before with temperatures like this. This is fine. And I also have a pair of they're running shorts, but they have the compression legs in them. Really like these shorts. I have a couple of pair of these, but I'll be wearing these also, the shorts, because, well, let's just be honest, nobody wants to see this without shorts over them. But also, if I decide that this is too much, I can take these off and still have the shorts to wear. In addition to that base layer, I will be wearing a pair of Darn Tough socks, and these are the high socks. I think they're called boot socks, but these are the high length for really cold weather. I like these. I'll also have a buff that I will keep around my neck, and not only will this just be around my neck for some additional warmth to kind of keep the wind off my, especially the back of my neck. Using a buff to pull up over your head is just invaluable when it's really cold and there's wind. And the final piece is something that may come on and off during the day depending on how active we are and what we're doing. But it is a thin merino wool hoodie. I have been wearing this, or one of these, pretty consistently for the last few years. Really like this. Even though it's thin, it offers enough insulation on top of another layer to keep you warm even in some pretty cool weather. Okay, so those are my hiking during the day clothes, and now I want to deal with what I'm going to do in camp. And I'm going to kind of interrupt this with clothes to make one point that is just an outdoor skills issue. In the case of hypothermia or just being really cold and uncomfortably cold, there is also one other skill that I think everybody who does this should know, is that you're carrying around what basically is your best insulative layer, and that is your sleeping bag or your quilt. So if worse comes to worse, you just stop and you set up your tent, you get in it, and get covered up with your quilt or your sleeping bag and get warmed up before you sort of pass the point of no return with hypothermia. in temperatures like this and lower, it's dangerous. So it's important to keep all of those skills in mind, and also the idea of just stopping and sort of bailing on what you're doing in that moment or for the day to set up camp and just get warmed up is an important skill, but it's also important to recognize that in yourself. Make the decision to take care of yourself. Okay, so let's stop and deal with some of the in-camp clothes, stuff that I will not be wearing on the trail. First of all, there's the real possibility, I would almost say likelihood, that at some point during the day, my feet are going to get wet. We have numerous stream crossings. Part of what we're doing is off trail. Watch for this video, I think it's going to be interesting. And because of that, I'm going to have camp shoes. So I've got a pair of Hey Dudes that I will have so that I can get into some dry socks and get into some dry shoes at the end of the day, so that I am not so cold when the temperatures get below freezing, which, let's be honest, is probably going to happen before the sun even sets. As I've already mentioned, I have a pair of dry socks that I will get into. These will be my camp / sleeping socks, and this is a pair of Darn Tough that are the thicker material. These are really not shoes that I would be very excited about hiking in. I guess I could. I have before. I've hiked out on final days before. Instead of changing into my wet socks to hike out, I've just kept my sleeping socks on and hike on out in them. But these are what I usually think of as my sleeping socks, and so I will have dry socks for in camp and for sleeping. For in camp, I also have an additional bottom layer, and that's going to be a pair of fleece pants. These are Modal fleece pants. I have had these for a very long time. These go back to at least 97, maybe 96. Even after nearly 30 years, these fleece pants are completely flawless. There's not a bit of wear on them. They don't show any of that age. And so this pair of Modal fleece pants will be going with me. This is what I will be adding. I'll probably just put it on over what I already have on if it's not wet at the end of the day, so that I can have an additional layer to be warm. If I get to camp and the stuff that I have been wearing is wet for any reason, from stream crossings or whatever, that stuff will come off, because the last thing I want to do is have wet clothes on my body when it gets that cold and think that I'm going to just wear them dry. Would I wear them dry? Probably eventually, but it would not be comfortable, and I'm not going to do it. If you watch my videos, you've probably seen over the course of time a number of beanies that I wear. I sort of just rotate them through depending on what activity I'm engaged in. But one of my favorite beanies for cold weather is this one from Carhartt, which of course is not even a backpacking brand, but it is an outdoor brand. And the thing I like about this is that it dips down to cover your ears, so you don't have to work to keep it pulled down over your ears. It just automatically stays that way. I really like this for especially early in the mornings, at night when I'm sleeping, and in the evenings when I first get into camp. Really like having this. I have two pair of gloves. I have a fleece pair from LL Bean. I've had these also for a very long time. I don't think I'm taking these, but I have the possum down gloves from Z-Packs, and I really like these gloves because they're designed so that even with the gloves on, you can use the map on your phone or whatever it is you're doing to scroll, so the fingers don't just scroll across the screen and do nothing. They actually function. And on top of that, they're also warm. I have two hooded puffy jackets. I've got the down one from Outdoor Research, and I have a synthetic one from Mountain Hardwear, and I'm really sort of torn on which one I'm going to take. I know that the down one, I know this is super warm even when the temperatures get really low, because I have experience with it in low temperatures and it keeping me warm, and it is completely flawless. Really enjoy this jacket. The Mountain Hardwear with the synthetic insulation, I do not have any experience with, and so this is what I'm thinking about doing. And if you think that I'm crazy, that's fine. Put it in the comments and tell me I'm crazy, but just be nice about it. I'm thinking about taking both of them. And I don't do this stuff very often, where I take two pieces of gear to experiment with them and see which one I prefer. But really the only way you can do that is to have both of them available to you. I really don't like doing this, but I think that's what I may do. I think I might take both of them, one to test the Mountain Hardwear Ventano hoodie to see how well it performs in some pretty cold temperatures, but also have the backup in case the Mountain Hardwear doesn't do what I think it might. It doesn't offer enough insulation. At least with this one, I know that I will have that extra insulation. Finally, the last thing that I'll be taking is a ball cap. And that's only if through the course of the day it warms up enough where the beanie just gets to be too much. I can switch from the beanie to the ball cap. I'm taking it, but I'm not 100% sure I'll ever come out of the beanie. And finally, there is right now no chance of rain on the days that I'll be on this trip, but I'm taking the rain gear anyway because I might want to have it for some wind protection. Okay, that's what I'll be wearing for this recent upcoming Arctic blast, but keep in mind it's an Arctic blast in Alabama. It's not the same as an Arctic blast in a lot of other places. But anyway, that's what I'm wearing. Do me a favor, in the comments, get in there and tell me what you think about this. What am I getting wrong? What am I doing right? But be nice about it. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.